Hello, everybody. I should probably have the coat out because I need to make experiment in honor of the great Michael Faraday. And the first, I want to begin with a very exciting one, very easy. This is jelly because we are in England. Okay. So now this is a gel, which means that it is mostly water. Let's say 99% water. This water is trapped into the network done by gelatin, probably. Is it gelatin? 5%. Well, 5%. It could be 1 as the limit. I make a small hole in this gel, and now I should add some water. Okay. I did this experiment in the lab. I waited for 2 weeks. There is no water flowing through, which is very incredible because if it is water, and if this is water, you know, if you put a colorant, you can see the diffusion of the colorant inside the gel. And then the energy for the water molecule to go inside should be equal to the energy for the water molecule to go outside. No water is falling. I don't understand anything. And this is why I'm so happy, because an open question is a promise of an answer. What is the relationship with cooking? I don't care. What is the relationship with physical chemistry? It is the most exciting physical chemistry. Now, if you are able to calculate a little bit, and you consider that a gel is made out of tubes, like, let's say, and these tubes have a diameter of 10 to the minus 8 meters, then you can calculate that the flow would be very, very small because it's proportional to air, the radius to the power 4. And then there is a reason why it should not flow. But is this the good reason? I don't know. And then this is my gift to you. Please explain this effect. Now let's move to the PowerPoint. We are going to make a mix of but I need the PowerPoint. Okay. By the way, in the Eurostar train, I decided to change the title because I found something more exciting. So the question is cooking. Is this a real question? Because I told you that some of you probably came because they wanted to hear something about cooking. I hope that some of you came because they wanted to hear about physical chemistry. But anyway, there is a link. There is a link. And what does cooking mean? You know, the photographer Cartier-Bresson was always asking the question, what is it all about? Cooking, what does it mean? What is it all about? This is cooking, by the way. It tells something. For example, there is some sausages with pork. So probably this way of cooking is not appropriate to everybody. So, you know, this is a huge plate. What does it mean? It means that at a time when people had not enough to eat, there was a promise of having enough. So there are many, many things to grasp from this picture. This one is another one, using liquid nitrogen to make frozen flakes on ice creams, on sherbets. This is cooking. Indeed, some part of the press, some reactionary press, is saying that oh, no, it's not cooking. Yes, it's cooking. Cooking means preparing food for your guests or family. So you make food. This is cooking. This is cooking. This one was taken from in Chicago at Alinea restaurants. Inside, you have a liquid core of foie gras. This one is also cooking. Oh, this one is a very strange one, but it's cooking. In the middle, you use the equivalent of Stilton, but it's a French cheese, to make a foam. Very easy. The recipe is easy. This one is an egg cooked at 62. It's cooking. An egg that's cooked at 65. When I say 65, it's Celsius. Sorry. This one is an artificial meat. It's cooking. This was an artificial vegetable. It's cooking also. And now I have a new idea. So I decided to change my mind, first with the title, then giving the new idea. And the idea is the following. I had the idea with my friend Pierre Gagnère. When I was at Pierre, here is the place, here is Pierre on the left. And as you said, I'm showing to Pierre one new innovation every month. And this particular month, it was when I showed to Pierre how to make 1 cubic meter of whipped egg white with 1 egg, which is very easy. Oh, by the way, we can make the experiment. In order to make the experiment, you just need a bowl, a whisk, an egg. Here is the egg. So the bowl will be too small, of course, because 1 cubic meter is much more than this. By the way, do you know in England the color of egg whites? You say egg whites, if I remember well. And what is the color of egg whites? Yellow. I don't understand why the English people say egg white, because it is yellow. Don't be afraid. In France, we say the same, blanc d'œuf. So we have question to ask. Why do we say egg white as it is yellow? Anyway, by the way, if you had the curiosity to measure the mass of this product, it's about 30 grams. If you leave the bowl outside for about 1 week, the water is evaporating, and then the remaining is a glassy product, yellow, by the way, because yellow plus water makes yellow, and this is 3 grams. I'm very sorry to tell you that in some circles, some culinary circles, they say that this is albumin. But albumin does not exist any longer since 1901, since chemists decided that it would be proteins. So these are proteins. So the egg white, we should say the egg yellow. The egg yellow is made out of 2 parts, water and proteins. Okay. Now I'm using a whisk. By the way, I should propose a vote, because I have one here. Who thinks that this one will whip better? You should raise your hand if you... this one. Okay? This one? Oh, more. Who is voting for I don't know? Congratulations. Now, I take the question again. Who is taking the bet 1 box of champagne that this one will be better? Are you sure? You're crazy. And for this one? No. Now let's look. Can you look? Yeah. Okay. There is a liquid. I'm using this whisk, and I'm whipping. Some air bubbles are pushed by the whisk inside the liquid. Okay. These air bubbles are air. Okay. These air bubbles are transparent. The liquid is yellow and transparent. The air bubbles have no color. And now I can guess that if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 threads. Do you say threads? Threads? Spokes. What do you say? Spokes. Yeah. Spokes or... Spots? Spokes. Spokes. Oh, spokes, okay. It's better than 1. Okay. But now I can count the number of spokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, multiplied by 2 equals 12. So this one is probably better. So which one should you use? This one or this one? Both. And now we are whipping the egg. It turns white. If it turns white, there is a question because it was transparent. There is nothing as a color, yellow as a color, and now it's white. So, of course, you can probably see. But you know that. You have to make it at home back tonight. You will see some reflections on any bubble. So imagine that the light would be red. What would be the color? Red. Imagine that there would be no light in the room. What would be the color of the whipped egg white? Okay. So let's whip. It goes faster. If I had 3 whisks, it would be even faster. But now we have to stop because are you sure that these tools are very efficient? No, they are not. They were there at the Middle Age. They are still there. And we are living completely in a mad way. So we have to change. We should drop these tools, and we should invite the technologists to make new tools to whip egg whites. That's obvious. Okay, so now let's whip again. By the way, if you want Eric to make a small scientific program, you can invite your students to calculate how much air could be pushed by the whisk device. Because the air droplets are pushed into the liquid, but they are cut into 2 and 2 and 2 repetitively. So, okay, so now it's done, more or less. The volume is about 1/5 of a liter. And okay, it's done. But now there is a question. Why don't I get more of the foam? Because probably I'm missing something. You remember that I have 3 components: air, water, and proteins. So we are missing something. We are not missing air because the room is full of air. So we are missing probably water or proteins. So who is thinking that we are missing water? Some of you. Proteins? Okay, I don't know? Much better than before. Taking the bet, 1 box of champagne, that it is water? Okay, safe. Let's make a simple experiment. The experiment would be to, no, not ethanol, but water. Ethanol can do something very, very funny, by the way. I'm sorry for the PowerPoint because I did a lot of work to prepare this PowerPoint, but probably I won't have time to show it. This is the experiment. Here is the egg yellow. Here is a very good whiskey. Okay. And now I get a poached egg. Oh, sorry, I have to be there. Okay, it's cold. Is it cooked? Because if you look at the dictionary is saying that cooking means you transform a product by heating, but there is no heat. It's cold. So is it cooked? But indeed, the definition given by the dictionary is wrong, because imagine that you have a chicken in your deep freeze. You put the chicken out of the deep freeze. There is a transformation, and there is heat, but it's not cooked. So here it is. Okay. So enough for this question. We have to go back to the whipping egg question, and now let's decide for adding a tiny quantity of water. Let's whip. Ah, there is more of the foam. What about adding some sugar? It is predictable because the sugar will dissolve into the water. It will give more viscosity to the liquid phase. And then the stability of the foam will be better. So no problem with sugar. And then water, it's a pity that it is water because it could be tea. It could be orange juice. It could be stock, meat stock. It could be anything. Coffee. It could be anything. And then you whip, and you whip, and you whip, and it's boring because we are whipping as in the Middle Age. So let's decide to add more water, and whip again, and add probably more sugar, and so on and so on. And finally, the best that we did was 27 liters of whipped egg white with 1 egg. It was in Montreal, and we stopped after 1 hour. We had enough. We were very tired. And the calculation, indeed, when you consider the size, the ordinary size of bubbles, you can calculate that the limit given by the proteins is 1 cubic meter of whipped egg white with 1 egg. Of course, the taste would be only the taste of the liquid that you added. But indeed, the calculation is wrong. Because imagine that instead of many, many air bubbles, you would have only 1. And the liquid will be around as a very thin layer with 1 water molecule around, plus the proteins. The protein has to be at the border in the air and in the air inside. Then the calculation is between, the radius will be between 30 and 300 meters. So it's much more than 1 cubic meter of root egg white. So very easy to make to whip egg whites. And let's come back now to the PowerPoint. But this is the recipe. Oh, by the way, excuse me. By the way, imagine that you take the foam with the pure taste of something, and you eat. What will be the result? Again, very predictable. So high, medium, 2 minutes, start. Okay? The microwave will heat the water. When the water will reach 100 Celsius degree, it will boil. So it will probably swell. But when it swells, it means that it is 100 Celsius. So the proteins coagulate. So the foam will be, and we don't see through. This tool is a pity. So we have to open. Okay, it swells. It swelled. And now, let's decide to put it here. This is a foam. It is a solid foam, as called the colloid physicist. The taste is the taste of what you used before. So if it were orange juice, the taste would be orange juice plus sugar. Okay. This has to be given a name. And for this one, probably, I gave the name of, I don't remember, Wurtz. Wurtz was a chemist, a wonderful chemist, very important one. He was a French one. I know that I'm in England, so I'm not trying to be too nationalistic. I'm Alsatian, so I don't care about France. But I don't care about England also. And the names that I'm giving, for example, there is, we can make the experiment with the Gibbs. You know, the famous physicist, American physicist, Josiah Willard Gibbs. In order to make the experiment, we need, again, an egg. Again, an egg white. Here is the egg white. It's always yellow, okay? Here it is. By the way, do you know where is the yolk in the egg? I mean, inside, probably. There can be 2 or 3. Is there a possibility that there will be no egg yolk? Well, now, for you're a physicist, for symmetry reason, it should be on the vertical axis, and it could be on top, in the middle, on bottom. Who is voting for in the middle? As textbooks say. Okay. On top? At the bottom? Oh, majority. I don't know. Okay. Now, again, with the box of champagne, who's thinking that it is in the middle? You're crazy! You're crazy because it is not. It is not. First of all, there is a possibility to know. Just look. Okay? Can you see? It's floating. And it's obvious because the egg white is water plus protein, so the density more than the density of water, and the egg yolk contains fat, and the fat is less dense. Okay. So the yolk is on top. And now there is a big question, because imagine, so now where is the yolk? On top. And now where is the yolk? On top. And in your pan, when you make an hard-boiled egg, where is the yolk? On top. So how can you avoid having the yolk on top? To get it in the middle, just roll it during cooking. So there is no up and down position. Very easy. I don't understand why it was never published in culinary books up to now. Very strange. I'm sure that there will be no Nobel Prize with that. But this is a big innovation, because if you want your 3-star Michelin, you need to have it at the center. Anyway. So let's come back to the Gibbs story. The Gibbs story is the following. Now we have an egg white. I know that we have oil. Okay. I put some oil on the egg white, and the oil is floating. I'm not sure that you can see, but you can make the experiment back home. So now I'm whipping, because there are proteins. The proteins can uncoil, and they can wrap into not the air bubbles now, but the oil droplets. So we make an emulsion. The word emulsion was introduced in 1650 by the surgeon Ambroise Paré, surgeon of the king, one of the fathers of surgery. And it means, it comes from emulgere in Latin words, to draw milk, because milk is an emulsion. So let's add more oil, okay? So I'm dividing the oil droplets into 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 2, but I'm dividing by a certain number of times. So very efficient. Now I have the emulsion. I put more of it. How much can I add? Liters. The calculation is easy. It can be part of a program for physical chemistry because when you begin by cooking, you love calculation behind. Now adding more of the oil. Can you help me pouring the oil, please? Can you pour the oil? Okay. We should not hide something because they will have the feeling that we are lying. Not too fast, not too fast, not too fast. Oh. Okay, thank you very much. Again. Thank you. It's all right, thank you very much. And now we are using this glass. Oh, by the way, the consistency is milky. This is an emulsion, we know it. The texture is like a mayonnaise because it's an emulsion. The color is poor, and the taste. So in order to improve the taste, not very difficult. It could be any product that dissolve into water. In order to improve the color, this is an easy question because I have here some beta-carotene. Beta-carotene is one of the... Oh. Don't worry. So we are now dissolving the beta-carotene. Beta-carotene is not soluble into water, it's soluble into oil. And this is fine because now we have a wonderful orange color. And now this is an emulsion. This is a new emulsion. It should be given a name. It's not the gyps. The gyps is what if we eat an emulsion? What if you cook a mayonnaise? Again, high, medium, start. Start. Okay. And again, we are going to look through. When it swells, it means that the oil is not suffering anything. But the water can evaporate. When the product is swelling, it means that, again, the temperature is reached 100 Celsius. Proteins are coagulating. I don't see through. It's swelling now. It's swelling, and now here is, this is not a foam, this is an emulsion, and this is a gyps. Josiah Willard Gibbs. You know, the texture, you can control it as you want, depending on the quantity of oil, and depending on the way you whip, depending on many things. The taste, you can control, the flavor, you can control the flavor exactly as you want because you can give taste, odor, color, and other sensations, acting on the trigeminal nerves that gives freshness and pungency. So now it's a new product. It's a gyps. Imagine that instead of oil, you were using melted foie gras for Christmas. Okay. So now let's move back to the PowerPoint. Except that thanks to Eric Müller, we have today, because there is a big question. Oh, let's make an experiment again. Again, let's use an egg white. But now, let's cook the egg white directly, because there will be a miracle. You know, this egg white is yellow, it is transparent, and it is liquid. We put this egg white in the oven. It could be any other heating apparatus. And probably there will be some explosion. There is. Which means that this tool is not appropriate. But it's not cooked. You see how this is poor. And we are using these kind of tools daily. So it means that the technologists did not do their job rightly. And now the result is there. We transformed a liquid, white, transparent product into yellow transparent product into a solid white one. This is a miracle, better than when Jesus Christ was transforming water into wine. And I'm not saying that I am Jesus Christ. I'm saying that we go in life with too much. What would be the word désinvolture? Rachel, how do you translate désinvolture? Désinvolture. Désinvolture means when you walk and you don't care about anything. This is désinvolture. We have too much désinvolture. We do not consider this kind of things daily. They are very important. There are many things to tell. How is it possible that a liquid can be transformed into a solid? Of course, we knew a liquid that was transformed into a solid. There is one. So how are the molecules inside? We don't know. What we know, what the chemists know, that the proteins are like coils. And when they are heated, some of them can uncoil. Can you uncoil, please? And, okay. So in the beginning, we are two proteins, with two coil proteins. And this is water. We are heated, we uncoil. And the protein, give me your hands, please. Now, the theory says that when the proteins are uncoiled, they can stick. And when they stick, they make a solid. But the water is trapped inside. So this is the theory. Okay, but the proteins don't have hands. So how can they stick? The theory says that they can stick through disulfide bridges. So this would be a sulfur atom. This would be another sulfur atom. Indeed, in the middle, there are two hydrogen. But the hydrogen is released, and up, disulfide bridges. So the theory is saying that you have disulfide bridges. Is it true? Contrary to politics, chemists don't lie, even when they want some funding. So, is it true that disulfide bridges are the forces responsible for cooking the egg? We can try to know. In order to know, we need to make an experiment. Any student in a chemistry lab has a coat, has glasses when it is needed, gloves, beautiful purple gloves. Okay, but I assume that the color was chosen because Perkin created the first purple colorant in England. He was a student of Hofmann. And he discovered mauveine. Mauveine was the color of the kings and the emperors. Now, you see, we said that cooking was two sulfur atoms linking together. Okay, this process is called an oxidation. The reverse is called a reduction. So if it was an oxidation, let's try to reduce, to make the reduction. For the experiment, I need only a teeny drop of water because it was more or less evaporated. And we need a reducing agent. This one, sodium borohydride. Please don't eat it. Generally, there is a tête de mort. Tête de mort.
A skull, yeah.
A skull, okay. Because it is dangerous. Now, you need only two. Should be enough. Now you just have to mix, okay? Oh, there is a foam forming. Whipped egg white without energy. Wonderful. So I'm just mixing slowly. I know why there is a foam, because there is the release of a gas. And suddenly, the curdles disappear. And if you wait enough, you will get an uncooked egg. So this was an indication that indeed making disulfide bridges is responsible for cooking the egg. And now, what can we do with that? First of all, it is useless. It is useless because this product is toxic. It is useless because we cannot eat the result. But it's not useless indeed, because knowledge, and knowledge is produced by this process, knowledge is what makes us different from beasts. And then this is not useless indeed. But all the time at the lab, people come and ask me, how is it useful? I don't care. It is a new knowledge. I need a new knowledge, and science is producing a new knowledge, and that's all. And applied sciences do not exist. If it is applied, it's not science, it's technology. If it is science, it's not applied. What could we do with that? Imagine that you have salmonellas in eggs. If you have salmonellas, it's a problem, and you have this problem in the UK. So if you cook the egg, you kill the salmonellas, but you cannot make a mayonnaise any longer with the cooked eggs. So let's uncook the egg and make the mayonnaise. It works the same with the yolk. So you will tell me that probably, yes, but uncooking using sodium borohydride is not safe. Any reducing agent could work. And indeed, once, but only once, I succeeded in uncooking the egg with ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C. The pH window is very small, and now I have to put that far away, because please don't eat it. Now, back to the PowerPoint. Perhaps. Back to the PowerPoints. Where is the small... oh, yes, back to the PowerPoints. So I was with Pierre Gagnère, and, you know, there is something important. In all tradition of cooking, you build things, okay? And this is a very funny story. This particular day, Pierre Gagnère showed me a piece of smoked salmon with a medallion of grapefruit jelly on it. And he said, oh, you're always giving me invention. Please test this one. And it was wonderful. But afterwards, you know, when you have sauce salmon, there is quite heavy. It's a vulgar taste, more or less. Not vulgar exactly, but, you know, it's smoked. And I proposed to Pierre to turn it upside down. Why? Because if you have the smoked salmon here and the grapefruit jelly there, indeed, these molecules, which are the taste molecules, they dissolve into saliva, and you have the taste sensation. But the odor molecules are generally hydrophobic. They don't dissolve into water, so they won't be able to dissolve into saliva. And you will not be able to smell them because they are against the tongue. Now this one here for the grape, you don't have the taste molecules, but you have the odor. If you turn it upside down, you have the reverse. This is the basis of what I'm calling culinary constructivism. You build food while predicting the effect on the eater. By the way, there is a funny experiment about that. I told you that where is the water? Here. That hydrophobic odorant molecules are not soluble into water. Okay. So this is another big question. You remember God at the beginning of all times. By the way, the Bible was wrong. Because the Bible says that after 6 days, God created the world. After 6 days, he stopped and he relaxed. No, God is not lazy. Probably he was not relaxing. And he decided, indeed, the real story, he decided to create something much bigger, much more important. And he created the university professor. But the devil was there, and the devil created the dear colleague. So now the question of God God trying to invent wine or orange juice or tea. If you have wine or orange juice of tea, you can smell the odor, which means that the molecules, the odorant molecules, go out of the water. Okay. And I told you that they were hydrophobic. So indeed, when you distillate some plants, you can recover some essential oil. Okay. No, this one is too big, so I will use my own. Okay. So now I'm using 1 drop. I don't have essential oil in my bag. One drop of oil, and this would make the odor of a huge volume of orange juice or tea or something, of wine. So the problem of God was to put this oil into the water. And you know that if you just pour the oil, it will float at the surface. It will not dissolve. So God was very smart, or is, I don't know. I never met him or her. So God had invented ethanol, and ethanol dissolves perfectly into water. That's safe. Oh, okay, but imagine that you dissolve the oil into ethanol, and now that we pour the ethanol, the solution of oil into ethanol, into the water, what's going to happen? We don't know. So let's try. Okay. Teeny oil droplets dispersed into water. This is the pastis effect. So there will be no Nobel Prize, unfortunately, except that this is a solution. We know now how to give taste. You just dissolve into water, and how to give the odor. So now you can build build food. By the way, I'm very happy to tell you that if you wait for some time, I did not pour it too fast because I wanted to have an upper layer and a clear one. If you wait for 1 week, the oil droplets will be distributed in all the volume. And probably because the size is very teeny, and the Brownian motion is putting the droplets into, instead of creaming, you are putting them back again and again into the solution. So I don't need neutron beams to measure the size of the droplets. I just need to calculate. And it is very funny. There is one big question. Where is the ethanol now? Is it in the oil droplets? Is it around the oil droplets? Is it in water? I don't know. So again, this is a wonderful question. It is the promise of an answer, and I would be happy that the very, very young chemist that I heard recently was there, probably 2 years old, will tackle the question in the next century. Okay. So let's come back to the PowerPoint. Perhaps again. So now we know how to build food. This picture is crazy because it's so smart. I took the picture in my plate in New York. It's scallops with spinaches, and it's inside a pata choux. Pata choux in English? Pata choux? Choux paste? Okay, choux paste. And it is cut into 2, and it is offered this way in your plate. What does it mean? My interpretation is that it means I built this dish for you, which means I love you, and if you are loved by the cooks, then it's better than if the guy would be throwing the dish to your face. So my new assumption is that when it is built, it is beautiful. And it's true that if you are a university professor and a student is giving you, how do you say, a copy? A copy? No, a copy. And if the copy is not built, it's awful. If it is built, it's beautiful. So this is my assumption. When it is built, it's beautiful. Let's look. Oh, let's look here. It's not built, and it's not beautiful. So this is an assumption. I cannot demonstrate it, but I can show you this picture. It's not built. It's not beautiful. And now this one. This one is a turbot fillet. The turbot fillet is considered by chefs as a beautiful fish. Indeed, it's white, except that it is built. And the size of the fillet is the size of the teeth. contrary to other fish, where the size of the fillet is much smaller and you don't perceive it. So when you perceive the construction, you say it's beautiful. So this is, again, an assumption. And this dish was built from all point of views: color, odor, shapes, taste, flavor, everything. There is no relationship with tradition, because indeed I hate tradition. I remind you that slavery was traditional. And then we have to decide for our future, is it our culinary future? And I know that when you hear that, you think that I'm crazy, because you want the tea with scones. And it's unfortunate. And next century, probably in England, we will be able to eat tea with scones. Anyway, this is built. And now we can decide to build things. For example, very easy. The sheets are smart. You know perfectly that when you have a sheet, you press this way, it folds. When you press this way, you cut your fingers. But in your mouth, when you eat a salad, you have the two textures. And this is why I decided to make artificial sheets. So these are tomato sheets. So we took tomatoes, we ground the tomatoes, we make them into a sheet, easy. This is the dressing. The dressing was made into a sheet. And this is an artificial salad. But this is very smart, because we can control any leaves. This is an artificial ham, the famous rabugo from Spain. This is an artificial rabugo, very easy. Now we can play with things. In paintings, you have figurative paintings, when you paint horses and so on. But you can also have Kandinsky, non-figurative. So when you eat this product, you say, oh, it's beautiful, it's good. And you ask the guest, what is it? I don't know. And it's done so that you cannot recognize any taste. You just have to say, I love it. And now this is my proposal for tomorrow. The proposal for tomorrow, let's begin with traditional cooking. In traditional cooking, you have plants, fruits, vegetables, meat, and fish. Okay. But when the fish has not enough sugar, in England, you put sugar in fish? No? Salt, let's say. Do you say salt or salt? Salt, okay. When there is not enough salt, you add some salt. But now, why not add all the compounds together? Okay? So the idea is to create cooking dishes compound by compound, note by note. Okay? It can be dangerous, because there is a whole continent of possibilities in front of us. But you remember that there was the big continent, many people died. So there is a big danger in the proposal that I'm making. Okay, but there are some easy compounds. For example, water is not so difficult, except that in the Middle Age, you could put too much of water and you killed people with water. So it's not so dangerous. Tartric acid, I invite you to use tartric acid in your kitchen. It's much better than acetic acid, vinegar. There is an elegant acidity, very elegant, very smart. Okay, glucose, okay, no problem. Glycerol gives the onctuosity of wine. It's sweet, not too much, please. This one is a phenolic. Phenolics are said to be good for your health. Don't forget about the smile here. When you hear good for your health, you can be sure that your interlocutor is lying. Nothing is good for your health, and we will die soon or later. But phenolics are giving colors, are antioxidants in certain circumstances, and so on. This one is completely well accepted, and I'm sure that nobody will have something against using ethanol in the kitchen. Okay? So, but it is dangerous. This one is chemistry, or awful chemistry, but it's sucrose, sugar. I'm sorry, but the real name is long. Chemists are precise people. They have to give good names, but this is sugar. Except fructose deanhydrides. Now you have a spirolactone bridge here, and fructose dehydride, if you go in the street and you say, are you ready to eat fructose dehydride? No, 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 very dangerous, except that it is the basics of caramel. So should we use caramel? And now Maillard reactions, when you roast beef or steak, it turns brown. They are called the Maillard processes. Indeed, they are not only the Maillard processes. And this is a very quite complicated picture of processes all together, giving rise to the flavor of grilled meat. By the way, previously I was upset by the H2S molecule there. H2S is a stinky thing, hydrogen sulfide in English. It is very, very toxic. When you cook an egg, and if you make the experiment in the lab, you take an egg white, you cook the egg white, and you put a paper with lead acetate, it turns dark because of H2S molecule. This molecule is toxic. But there is a very good news. It has been published in PNAS, the Proceeding of National Academy of Sciences, that this molecule is more efficient than Viagra. So why not playing with eggs? With eggs before and after, in a way. Other processes, and here is a list of products that you can use. Now, it is already done by some chef. This is a carrot with tartaric acid. This is a Wöhler sauce. I'm very happy to tell you that this sauce was produced for the first time in London in Sketch, the restaurant of Pierre Gagnère in London. This sauce is entirely synthetic. Only compounds and compounds and compounds, and the product was wonderful because it was cooked by Pierre Gagnère. And this one was produced in Hong Kong recently, in April. This was not a sauce only. The products was mixed, and all this dish with texture, with consistencies, with flavor, with odor, all this dish was done compound by compound. So is this the future of your cooking? Probably, chefs will go in this direction. Probably they will make tests, and there is some danger. And now we need knowledge in order to avoid all this danger. And I'm sorry to tell you that this guy here, Professor Eric Müller, is showing me this hand. It means 5 minutes left, and we are only at the beginning of the lecture. So I don't know how to behave. Probably only answering the question that you have the feeling probably that when you mix products and products and products, it will be a liquid. It's not true if you know a little bit of colloid chemistry. Alors, colloid chemistry, here is picture. This is a gelatin gel, the same that we had in the beginning. So you see the proteins linked by 3, and the water is trapped inside. This one is a mayonnaise with oil droplets under the microscope. Very cheap microscope, so anybody can make the picture. This one is the foam on your espresso. It is said by chefs that it is the cream of the espresso, but I don't see any fat droplets, so I call it a foam instead of a cream. This is bread with starch granules inside the gluten network. Gluten is made out of proteins. This one is a spaghetti. The spaghetti under the microscope, you have the gluten network and starch in the middle. This one is a shallot. Shallots are very important. It means water trapped in small bags, glued together. So now you know how to make an artificial plant. You have to make bags and to glue them together with water inside. Okay? This is an egg yolk with an air bubble. This is an egg yolk plus sugar when you make custard. This is when you whip. A lot of air bubbles, and now if you wait for some time without whipping, before cooking, now you cook, it is curdled. A successful custard is a microscopic failure. But if you make a real microscopic failure, here it is. And if you shake in the bottle like the grandmother said, you recover the custard. Now, I'm happy to be at Imperial College because I want to promote this idea. In colloidal science, we have this table as an introduction. We disperse a gas, a liquid into a solid, or into a gas, a liquid, a solid. So you have the name, A gas into a liquid, it's a foam. We did it. A liquid into a liquid, it is an emulsion. Oil into water, water into oil. And you have the other names. Okay, but this is the potato under the microscope. Here you have solids, the starch granules. When you cut the potatoes, you wash them, you have a teeny white powder. They are colored in blue with iodine, starch granules, they are solids. The solids are dispersed into a liquid, so it means that it is a suspension, according to the previous table. But now, the liquid are dispersed into a solid, so it means that it is a suspension dispersed into a solid. And now it's too long. So I did what Lavoisier did before in 1781. I decided to give letters and to make a calculation like NaOH plus FeS3, I don't say anything. And now you can make formulas. For example, here is the formulas of the various systems that you had before, and this is the formula of potato. Any dish can be described by a formula like this. It is very simple. I invite all my dear colleagues to introduce this kind of formalism in their lectures because it is so easy, and you can add some information. You can make the same as in chemistry, but playing with the structure of colloidal system. And now you can also describe the organization in space because we had the matter. Now we need the organization. This is meat, for example. In meat, you have muscular fibers, which are water and proteins, dispersed into the collagenic tissue. This means that you have here an artificial meat, fibers with something in it. Now, a shallot, obviously, you have now an artificial, not shallot, but orange. And now there is another formalism, very simple, 4 letters, and you can have operators. You need a scale, because remember, I was saying that the turbot fillet was important because it was the same size as the teeth. And the teeth, we decided to chew lettuce and to calculate the size after 5 mastication movements or 100. It is crazy. This histogram begins exactly at the same size. So indeed, Protagoras was right. The man is the measure of everything. And for cooking, the teeth is the important reference scale. And now I have to stop probably because we are at the limit of explaining what molecular gastronomy is. All what we showed was not molecular gastronomy, except perhaps the experiment with the gel, the experiment with the pastis effect, and the uncooking experiment. I just want to finish with these words. There was a pre-story of people studying cooking. Many people, Lavoisier, I'm forgetting about Lavoisier. Now we move to Liebig, Justus von Liebig, the famous German chemist. Now we move to Parmentier, very important for French people. Rumford, wonderful guy. He created the Royal Institution. Liebig again. Pomian produced a lot of bestsellers in France for about 1/2 of a century. Nicolas Curti, I'm very happy to tell you that Nicolas lived in Oxford. He was educated in Hungary. Myself, I'm French, if I may say. We studied cooking, many things to explore, pears turning red or not, molecules, raspberries turning purple in certain conditions. We roasted suckling pigs. We did a lot. Oh, by the way, if you are not convinced that the egg yolk is floating, look at the right. It is floating, contrary to the textbook on the left. And in 1988, we created molecular gastronomy with Nicolas. The program was wrong because we made an awful confusion between cooking and science. And even today, I have to lecture all over the world to explain that molecular cooking is not molecular gastronomy. So just one word to finish. Molecular gastronomy is science, and science only. And the program should come. The program should come somewhere. Here. This is the program of molecular gastronomy. As cooking is first love, then art, and then technique, science has to study the three components. This is molecular gastronomy. Gastronomy does not mean cooking for rich people or with costly ingredients. It means gastronomy means knowledge, science. Molecular cooking is an application of molecular gastronomy. As you can see, you have science. We are working hard at the basement. Then we are giving things to our chef's friends. And this is molecular cooking. Very different. Heston Blumenthal is not doing molecular gastronomy. He's doing molecular cooking. I'm not doing molecular cooking. I'm doing molecular gastronomy. It's so easy that I cannot understand why there is a confusion. Let's finish. Bad question. For example, this one. Green beans have a color that changes during cooking. Why? How? Please, I invite you to participate to all this funny story. And I will skip all this because I see that Eric is very angry at me of so many pictures with NMR spectroscopy, with modeling, with calculation, with different partial equations, with microscopy, with molecular cooking, with liquid nitrogen, with programs, with local technology, a lot of things. Oh, it does not work? No? Yes, this one, by the way, this kind of apparatus can make 500 billion different colloidal systems. Okay, so let's move. Oh, eggs, we can play with eggs. No, I just want to go at the last one because many inventions, but we don't have time, Eric. We don't have time because it was too short. I'm trained to lecture for 3 days, so this is why. And I did that this morning. I finished that this morning in the train. So, pictures. Pictures, again. This is a choucroute, by the way. And now the best for the end. Who guesses what it is? Calculation molecules. Celebrate molecular gastronomy. And you have my email, so we don't have time to explain everything, but I'm always answering email. So please use it, and I will always answer the question. I invite you to participate to this adventure, in particular because in English cooking, you have a lot of old wives' tales. I'm studying the French one. I'm not studying the English one because I don't know the English old wives' tales, because I cannot speak English, and then I cannot read English books, and then you have to do the job yourself. And my proposal is that we meet in some years in the future when you have worked with your own way of cooking, and we can compare, and we can try to understand more of the various cultural interpretation of cooking in terms of physics and chemistry. Celebrate chemistry.